the 18th Sunday. It's actually today for us Jesuits, it's the feast day of our founder, St. Ignatius, but it doesn't supersede the ordinary Sundays. We celebrate it on another day. So I just want you to know, because it's a great gospel for the feast of St. Ignatius anyway. You know, in dramatic theory, there's always a setting, and then there's an inciting incident, something that sets the rest of the action. So inciting incident, then rising action, and moving to some conclusion. The inciting incident is a little argument. Tell my brother, I want more. I want more of the inheritance. In the Jewish times, the father would give 2/3 to the older son and 1/3 to the second, or to be divided up with the other sons. So it's probably a younger son saying, I deserve more. If you love us, then I should get half. So Jesus says, I see. There's not much love in your family. There's law. So then Jesus says, be careful about being greedy. And that's going to be, greed is what Jesus is talking about. But then he tells this wonderful parable about the man who has accumulated much by his own efforts, so much so that he wants to build a bigger barn. Notice in the gospel, he's always talking about himself to himself. It's really interesting. I will do this. I have done this. I will do this. And I will enjoy myself. Greed is an expression of selfishness and nourishes selfishness. And selfishness results in isolation. There is a little phrase, a little picture. The world is a bridge, has a bridge to get across, living here to get over there. And the greedy man builds his house in the middle of the bridge and says, this is good enough. I've got it all. Bigger barn, nothing but myself, no one to bother me. Now you'd say, well, that's terribly selfish. The bridge is supposed to get us from here to there, and he's not going there, he's staying here. Which is a pretty natural human tendency. Security, greed, self-centered accumulation, self-establishment. I am what I have. There is no such thing as distribution or sharing or relationship except with myself. What I think Jesus is saying is, if you are accumulating yourself by accumulation of other things, you will stay here in the middle, and you will live surrounded by richness, but experiencing human poverty. What Jesus is always inviting us to, the real richness, believe it or not, is adventure. And to keep going across the bridge into life, being enriched, not by accumulation. I am not what I have, I am what I do. And what I do is being human and relational. And the real richness is not what you have of material goods or interior personal gifts, your real richness is not what you have, but what you share. They say, for accumulations, you can't take anything with you into the next life except that which you have given away, what you shared. And Jesus is saying that poor man, in a way, his soul was required of himself as he sits in the middle of the bridge. He never really lived. He accumulated, and maybe other people had great esteem for him, but what did he think of himself? He says, I am only what I have, and I don't have relationships that called me to the adventure of life. And that's what Jesus is saying. Be careful. Yes, it's appropriate for human beings to have things. And your shoes are your shoes until you see someone that doesn't have any. They're yours, and we've said this before. Jesus takes what's mine and invites me to let it be ours. And that man talked to himself and prayed with himself and did everything for himself because he was his. And the call of Jesus in the liturgy, every liturgy, is for distribution. Nothing is yours. You are not yours. You are ours. And when you go into church and you anoint yourself with holy oil or holy water, you are saying, I belong to Jesus, to myself, but myself is ours. Yes, I say self-acceptance, yes, but self-acceptance is prelude to self-donation. I must be aware of myself, learn. Awareness is the beginning of acceptance. And I say, yes, this is who I am. These are my gifts. But they're gifts. But they're only gifts when I give them away, not just when I receive them. I receive them as gifts, but they're not mine. And I am not mine. Greed is saying, I cover my insufficiency with material accumulations. Not just what I buy, but titles and whatever. What people think of me. Esteem. I feel sorry for that man that built this bigger barn, and his barn fell in on him. His life fell in on him. His selfishness fell in on him. And he was not available for the adventure, the enrichment. And that's what Jesus is always calling us to say yes, insofar as we can, with our limitations, but to say yes to, I don't know where we're going. I don't know with whom I'm going to be. It's an adventure. And greed will say, I have it all. Receptivity is, I want more, and I will receive more by being a gift to others. I will, and that's how Jesus lived, that's how the apostles lived, and that's how the Eucharistic community lives. What you receive in the Eucharist affirms that you are not just yours. It's not just you and Jesus. It's not just you and the parish. It's you with whomever adventure invites you to relate. To give, but also to receive. The adventure is not, what am I going to do? When we send our students out to do social involvements, we say, it's not what you're going to do, it's what those people are going to give you. Be attentive to that too. It's not what you're doing, but what they're doing, what God is doing within you and around you. So, the rich man, his barn, he stayed to himself. He died by himself. He didn't cross the bridge. Our invitation is to Take what we've been given. It's not mine.